Actually, Tech Lords, you want to touch on anything right now about this?
Yeah. Well, I had a question for Rocky. We've been seeing support at 400, around $450 US for quite some time now. Do you, as a trader, uh, predict any change of that support, either up or down, in the near future?
Okay, good question. Let me give a quick little peek at the chart right now. So things have yeah, it's been a little bit choppy, you know. The price has been a little bit choppy, but if that support level does break, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. It might just mean a good buying opportunity. What I'm really looking at is I'm looking at resistance, right? I'm looking at 475 resistance. I want to see some new highs to get out of this chop. Like Bitcoin's been extremely stable lately, and it's also been very low volume. I guess because there's a lot of action happening in altcoins like Ethereum and DAO and stuff like that. But I'm waiting for like the grand slam, the 475 breakout. So that's where I've got my eyes and targets set for. In the meantime, I have a lot of fun just trading altcoins because there's some ridiculous price movements in the altcoin world. I mean, it's not unheard to see like 2,000% increases on coins and stuff like that, and you can't even find those returns anywhere really in the legacy systems. So yeah, that's my thoughts about that.
I guess too, kind of going into the what's your take or what's going on with the we kind of touched about this in the interview part, but the adoption between like the old financial systems, what they're doing, and kind of they're kind of cherry picking, right, what they want to use, which is fine, but also to what you were saying about not where they demonize the roots of it, where what made it special or what makes it really good. I guess we kind
Mm.
of should talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a mixed crowd, right? I won't generalize and say that all banks or financial institutions want to, fight Bitcoin or adopt blockchain. Some of them have adopted that narrative, and other institutional investors or people in Wall Street or in the banks actually really like Bitcoin and have invested in it. And some of them, invest in Bitcoin companies, right? And so one might ask the question, well, geez, why would big financial institutions and venture capitalists or whatever, why would they invest in something that could potentially, disrupt their industry or make their industry obsolete? Well, it's like this. These people are investors, they're traders. So one, maybe they're hedging their bets, and two, they also go where there's opportunity to make money, right? And some of these people actually don't really get very emotionally attached to their ideas or thoughts about what they want to invest in. They'll just look for opportunities to make money. And some people in that industry are actually decent people who believe in the philosophy of decentralization and stuff and would like to see some of the corruption cleaned out of the industry. Not everyone who works in the financial industry is evil or corrupt or crooked, right? And I think sometimes you could have good people working in a kind of a broken system, right? It becomes systemic in a lot of ways. And so, you also have some financial activists, like people like Patrick Byrne, who's the CEO of Overstock, who just recently, um, launched T0, which is using blockchains to settle stocks and stuff like that in the financial industry. And he's really against. He went toe to toe with Goldman Sachs for naked short selling and took them to court and won and all that kind of stuff. So it's important, like as much as we can address systemic problems in our system or the world, it's important to treat every individual on a case-by-case basis objectively, and to not just lump everyone into the same kind of category or whatever. So I
Yeah.
always treat every situation and every individual and every company on a case-by-case basis. And even in a sense that, even if a company did something evil at one point, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're always going to do that. People change, situations change, the world is changing. I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I like to look at both sides. Again, that's also kind of fits nicely into what you were saying with the Eastern philosophy as well. You know,
Yeah.
trying to be objective and have a neutral or clear mind, and see things for as as they are, as opposed to the glasses or lenses, the shades of color that we perceive reality as. Right.
Yes.
Um, and this is what I love about trading in the markets, because it actually gives you empirical, concrete results that are measured in numbers, right? There's no way for me to subjectively interpreting losing money.
Yeah.
Right? You either like you've made a good trade or you didn't. And if I get married to my beliefs, I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen, blah blah blah, and then I'm losing money. And if I hold on, I'm like, no, this can't be. It has to be the other way. Like, there's
Yeah.
like the end result. It doesn't lie, right? Like, it's brutally honest, right? So I look at that, and so the best way I could describe my state of mind is let's see, discerning yet open-minded. Discerning yet open-minded. Have an open mind, but have a firewall up. Don't just let any shit take root and seed into your consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Don't just believe any old bullshit that some snake oil salesman's going to sell you, some politician.
But
But don't be closed-minded and skeptical of everything either. You've got some people, they identify as skeptics. I'm a skeptic, like, I'm skeptical of everything. Oh, that spiritual
yeah.
stuff, no, that's rubbish. Oh, Bitcoin, that's rubbish.
Or
That's not
they could go
skeptical. That's
yeah.
closed-minded.
Yeah, they could go so far as being even skeptical. What we were kind of joking about before is like, okay, we start our own Bitcoin. Like, oh, are we the elite that this is what they want us to do? They're controlling us. You could go too far with that, and like everything's like a balance. And this is the real struggle of the South, but also too, I think it mirror images society at large too, is what's going on with them. They
Yeah,
right away you're skeptical, or you like, oh, that's rubbish, without even investigating it. Yeah, you could be skeptical and say, oh, I'm kind of weary of this, but that should mean that you investigate it more, or you question
exactly.
it more, not that you don't even look at it at all. And that's
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And with the information we have, we're in the information age, where information is the most valuable commodity that we have right now. People have no excuse for ignorance.
It's a
Like,
click
there's
away.
there's yeah, I mean, ignorance is a choice now. It's to ignore, right? And even, there's a difference between ignorance and nascence. And nascence is like someone genuinely never even heard of it, and it's never even crossed their radar, so they couldn't have even investigated to begin with.
Mhm.
And ignorance is, seeing something, formulating an opinion, and then choosing to ignore further investigation,
Yeah.
right? Even if your opinion is right, you could have an ignorant right opinion. Like, let's say I tell you some relevant fact that's true, but you just blindly believe it. Even though it's true, it's still ignorant.
Yeah.
you know like, so we have no excuse. The world is at the click of our fingers, or click of our mouse, and we can investigate anything. And the same thing goes for cryptocurrencies. And I'm also very wary too of hype and hive mind. You know, like when everyone gets worked up in this frenzy, like I take a step back and I'm like, let's see how this plays out. You know, let's look at both
Yeah.
sides. It could succeed. It's possible, but I don't know. Sometimes, you know,
Yeah. What's
I've made good money being
probable?
yeah, I made good money being a contrarian before, right? So
Yeah. Uh, okay, so uh, Tech Lord, do you want to ask anything else or bring up something that's going on in your mind right now? And we could probably start.
Well, I think that yeah, Bitcoin is great. I mean, I'm very happy to know Rocky because he explained a lot to me. I still have a lot to learn about this cryptocurrency, but I'm really excited because. Um, but I have one more question for Rocky.
okay.
This has been, you know, uh, well, do you see Bitcoin ever backed by gold anytime soon?
All right, cool. So yeah, so there are some cryptocurrencies out there that are backed by gold. You know, one just released an ICO on the Ethereum blockchain. So those do exist. Bitcoin itself probably never will be, but that doesn't mean that you can't trade tokens or coins with the Bitcoin blockchain that happen to be backed by gold. See, the beautiful thing with the blockchain is that although the units of Bitcoin help secure that ledger, they secure the ledger because miners are securing transactions. You can have there's all kinds of tokens and assets and different derivatives and stuff like that that people actually record onto this blockchain, right? You know, there's one layer protocol called Counterparty. It operates through federated servers or federated nodes on top of Bitcoin's blockchain, and it anchors tokens or assets into Bitcoin transactions on the blockchain. So, yes, you could have a gold backed cryptocurrency on the Bitcoin blockchain, and there are cryptocurrencies right now that do exist. And this is a very interesting use case because you know we can get out of this fractional reserves that we might see in the gold markets right now. Where you could paper trade more gold than actually exists, because with you know blockchain technology, you could actually create systems where you have proof of reserves, right? And be able to you know show not only an audit trail of the gold that's on the chain, but you know developers or people that are holding the coin could um, you know show some kind of proof of reserves by either having people audit the gold that they're holding and stuff like that, and then you know maybe sign some kind of transaction or signature to prove it, something like that. So there's different models of exploration that we can get to for sure with this.
Okay, well, I the reason I asked is because right now, like I'm just going to talk Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is the price of Bitcoin is based on fiat currency, like the U.S. dollar, the euro, Great Britain pound, etc., etc. But those are all fiat currency, so money created out of thin air. Uh, if there is a collapse of the entire world's economy, uh, what will happen to Bitcoin? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, Bitcoin will likely continue to chug on. If not, it'll even grow more in value. I consider Bitcoin a hedge against that very collapse because, yes, while Bitcoin is paired on the third party exchanges, it's paired against many fiat currencies. They also have exchanges that are paired against gold as well, right? You could technically even trade Bitcoin against any type of derivatives contract from or futures on, you know, wheat or silver or anything really. Any kind of financial instrument could be created and paired against Bitcoin. But yes, the predominant markets happen to be the USD as well as the Chinese yuan. But these are just exchanges where people buy and sell Bitcoin for their local fiat currency. This doesn't have anything to do with the Bitcoin network in and of itself. The Bitcoin network only operates in Bitcoins, and you could potentially create a token that represents a derivative of fiat on the Bitcoin network, but you can't actually trade fiat in and of itself. So even if the entire fiat system were to collapse, Bitcoin would continue to chug on because it is, even though it interacts with that system at certain points on exchanges, it's completely independent from that system and autonomous from it. So that's kind of one of the main purposes of its creation, is to be an autonomous system outside of that. The only impact I'll see it having on the Bitcoin markets will be extremely bullish impact, as in, people trying to exit out of that system and, hedge or get into an alternative system like Bitcoin, which will increase buying pressure or whatever dramatically. And, there might come a point where we might not even need to trade Bitcoin or convert Bitcoin into fiat. I mean, think of it this way. The only reason why you'd have to, like I get paid in Bitcoin, for example, and I like to save my money in Bitcoin. But when I need to pay bills, I need to convert into fiat, right? But we could potentially eliminate that. If I could pay my bills directly, if the utility service providers, and this is what's happening in Switzerland. There's actually a town in Switzerland right now where the municipality is letting people, they're doing an experiment for a year, they're letting people pay their utility bills and I think even their taxes, stuff like that, directly in Bitcoin. So that, once you can pay your bills on it, then you don't even need to convert into fiat at all. Now, Bitcoin will always probably be measured in something, whether it's in fiat or how many units of loaves of bread you could buy with it or whatever, because the way the economic markets work is the only way to measure value is to compare it to something else. Like even all the currencies out there in the Forex exchanges, they're all compared to other currencies, right? So how do you know how strong the US dollar is? Well, you compare it to other currencies, right? Or you compare it to gold. Or how do you know how strong gold is? You compare it to the US dollar or vice versa. So economic value is always measured in pairs by comparing one thing to another. It's kind of like hot or cold. How do you measure what's hot unless you compare it to cold? Like what's hot in the wintertime is cold in the summer, So everything, it's that kind of dualistic nature of our reality of comparing one thing to another to measure value.
Nice.
Interesting. Thank you for that great answer.
Yeah, that was
You're
really
welcome.
that was good. Okay, so
Tori, you have anything else?
no, I think that's good for right now. I think I like this format where we kind of just
Right. So my website is cryptohustle.com. On this website, there's all kinds of guides on how to get started with Bitcoin, and I also put a special emphasis on the markets. So it's geared towards beginners, crypto enthusiasts, investors, and traders. Cryptohustle.com.